What is up, you guys? Here is Fiona. Say hi. Oh, welcome to my YouTube channel. I wanted to jump on here today. I'm actually sitting on the ground because there's no good lighting in this house. So I moved in with Keith last year, and I was telling him, I'm like, we're looking for a house anyways, but I was also saying, like, we need to move because we need a house with like more light so that I could film and I could take photos. And he's like, oh gosh. But I am here on the ground because I actually want to talk about something today that I just posted about on my Instagram, and it's about the scale. And pardon me, I actually just got my hair and makeup done. I have the Felicia Romero Classic this weekend, so today is prejudging and I'm gonna be heading there in a couple hours. But I went to the gym this morning and I had not been on the scale for, gosh, probably since Fit to Fat to Fit, which was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, since I jumped on the scale. So I had no idea what I weighed, but I also am in a very good place in my life to where the scale doesn't affect me like it used to, and I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. But here, I'll show you guys a whole photo, or whole body. So here I am. I am 123 pounds. I weighed this morning. For some reason, I just felt the need, there's Cosmo, felt the need to get on the scale today because I kind of wanted to see what I weighed. And also it was amazing because getting on the scale didn't affect me at all. I didn't jump off and wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I weigh, you know, this weight, or it didn't have any effect on me whatsoever. But I remember a time when it did. Literally throughout all of my 20s, even into my early 30s, I'm 36 now, the scale hugely affected me. And it was crazy because I remember a time, and I talk about this in my post, where I literally went to the doctor and I had not wanted to see the scale. Like, I told them, like, please don't tell me what the number is. So as I was getting off of the scale, I happened to glance at what the nurse was writing down, and I saw the number and I flipped out. I feel like part of me wanted to see that number because I wanted to stop being in denial about it. I'm gonna step up actually. I wanted to see what that number was because I wanted to not be in denial about where I was. I am sitting back down, but part of me wanted to see what was on that scale, wanted me to know that number, didn't want me to be in denial about it anymore. And so I stepped off the scale and I happened to glance at the number she was writing, and I flipped out. Literally panic attack. The nurses probably thought that I was crazy. Now, mind you, I had just got done competing 4 weeks prior. I was 118 pounds on stage. The number I saw was 160 pounds. So yes, I put on 40 pounds in a month. So I had, obviously, you guys know about my story, my thyroid was messed up, I had hypothyroidism, I had metabolic damage, I have adrenal fatigue, I was even diagnosed with PCOS at that point. So to put on all that weight, and water weight, because I can imagine that there was a good amount of water weight, I flipped out. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe I let myself get to this point. Now granted, I know a lot of you out there might be, you know, around that weight and maybe feel awesome, but I didn't feel awesome. And it was so much more than just the number on the scale. I didn't feel good from the inside. So I knew that something had to change. And that was the moment where it was a realization for me that I wanted to change my life and I wanted to get healthy. And that the healthy included, those weren't physical goals. Healthy for me was waking up in the morning without anxiety or depression. That was what I wanted. That is what I strive for. So when I got on the scale this morning, just on a whim, just kind of wanted to see where I was at. And also it was such an amazing feeling to not let it affect me. But I thought about all of the times in my life where I was affected by the scale. All through my 20s, when my goals were all physical. I had to look a certain way on stage. I had to weigh weekly for my coaches. I had to weigh a certain amount, and you know, all that pressure that was surrounded by a number and the way that I looked. And I can't tell you how miserable that made me, how obsessive it made me, how overly consuming it made me on my body and that scale. And I think for me, that's where a lot of my anxiety kind of derived from. I didn't realize it till years later when I filmed Fit to Fat to Fit. And again, I had to jump on a scale and weigh every single week because I had to gain weight for a TV show. And the producers were putting pressure on me to gain weight and my body wasn't gaining weight, and I started getting panic attacks. And I was like, you know what? It's the scale. It's this pesky little thing, this piece of equipment that measures how much we weigh, that was having such a huge effect on my life. And it was such an eye-opening experience, because I know for me now, like right now, I feel amazing, I feel great, and I know that I don't have any physical goals. I'm not training for a competition, I'm not having to look a certain way, and I've sort of, you know, come to peace with, you know, food and the way that I feel about food and the relationship that I have with food. So when I had filmed Fit to Fat to Fit and I kind of brought that to light again, it made me realize that when we focus so much on those physical attributes, our physical goals, mind you, it's great to have goals, but when we become obsessive about it, it literally takes over our life and makes the process unenjoyable, makes us miserable, and frankly, I feel it creates a lot of mental issues, mental food, you know, imbalances with ourselves. And so I wrote about it today on my Instagram. Hopefully you guys can all go there and check it out. But I just wanted to jump on here to talk about, you know, it has to be so much more than the number. You have to create those small wins in your life. And those small wins can include doing 10 push-ups, getting a gallon of water in a day, or, you know, maybe decreasing your sugar intake, or getting exercise in through the week. All those small goals will lead up, those small wins will lead to physical changes. But when we take the focus off the physical, I can't tell you guys, it was like game changer for me. It was night and day game changer when I finally started, and I guess I had to kind of become, you know, the lowest low. I had to hit rock bottom in order for me to realize that. So I just wanted to get on here today to talk to you guys about that. Again, my next video, I wanted to kind of step over here. My next video, kind of gonna introduce a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about legs and decreasing the size in your legs, kind of, I guess, muscle atrophy, because I get a lot of questions about that, how I decreased the size in my legs. And so that will be my next video. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please comment below, and I will see you soon. Bye.